Hello, it's LaDonya from Keep It Crafty with LaDonya, and I thought I would show you how to make this. I made this yesterday, and it is a money gift box. There is a tray insert inside to hold the money, and I thought I would show you how to do it. It's all from one piece of, the construction of the box itself is from one piece of card. So if we get started, first we need to cut the cards, but I have already done that. And I've cut this from an A4 piece of paper. It's 11 inches long and it's 8 inches deep. So we just need to score at 1 inch on all four sides, because that will be the depth of our box. So just do the same all the way round. And then when we've got that, we are going to need a 1 inch spine, because it's a fold over box, it's all one piece. So we need a 1 inch spine in the middle. So if we score again at 5 and at 6, then that will give us our spine. I've also got one more piece of card, which will be for the insert. And this measures 7 by 5. The top of our box measures 6 inches by 4 inches. And I want the tray insert to stand halfway up. So I've done 6 by 4, but had it on half an inch either side. So that's where we get the 7 by 5 from. So then we just score this at half an inch on all four sides. And then that will give us our little tray to sit inside. Oh, I should mention, this is not quite 7 inches. It is a smidge shorter. It's not even a 1/16 shorter. It just sits on the left side of that 7 inch line there, and again on this side it just sits on the left hand side of that 5 inch line there. So just a smidge, because obviously we don't want an exact 6 by 4, because otherwise it won't sit inside properly. So just the tiniest sliver off, and then we will fold and burnish all of these score lines. So this one doesn't need making into, we won't be sticking that there, so we'll get rid of these corners in a moment, and then we'll do the boxes itself. So I'm just going to wedge these. This will just stand inside it. It doesn't need the extra of the corners. It will stand in quite nicely on its own. So that's all those there wedged. So that's that part done. And then if we do the box, again we just fold and burnish all the lines. And this is just a piece of basic white cardstock, not the thick sort, just the standard regular sort. You can do it with thick cardstock, so you can use like the coloured cardstock, but it works just as well with the standard, the basic white, if you know what I mean. Right, so now we've folded and burnished all of those, we're going to cut in some wedges. So I'm going to cut up here, and I'm going to remove the score line onto this square. So I'm just going to cut onto just to the side of that score line, so as then the score line is on this square and not on that. And then we'll take that off by wedging it, and that will give us a nice corner when we come to construct the box. So again, just cut the score line off onto the square and then wedge the square. Same here, cut the score line into the square on both sides, so then both score lines are on that square. And then again we'll just wedge this. So it is a nice, quite straightforward box, but quite effective, and just something a little bit different than a money wallet. And then the last one, again both the score lines onto the square, and and then that gives us nice clean finishes on these parts, which we will be able to see. Oh, I tore that a tiny bit, but that's okay, that doesn't matter. Right, so let's push them up to there. So what I have done is I'm using the Butterfly Bijou DSP, and nope, that way and that way. So I have cut the width, because the width is 6 inches on the box. I've cut the width at 5 3/4, and then for this main piece here that will go on top, that is 3 3/4 tall. These pieces here, again 5 3/4 wide, but 3/4 of an inch, because they're going to go on the side of the box. And I've also cut 2 there for the sides. These don't line up with the pattern, but these 3 do. So I'm going to keep those 3 in order and stick them down. So if you're not using directional paper or you're not worried about pattern matching, then it doesn't matter which order they go in, but I like to pattern match where I can. So that just sits on top there, and then this one matches up just there, so this will go at the front. Just run a bit of glue on, and then we'll stick that on there. Like so. And then this one, yes, I do think generally the paper, that's the top of the paper and that's the bottom, but there are butterflies facing the opposite direction, so I don't mind that this seems to be upside down. That is if we pattern match it like that, look, then we just put that there like that, and it doesn't, we've luckily got that one there, so it doesn't really look upside down, which is fine, because obviously that will sit at the back and that will be facing downwards. But on this other one, see, I did pattern match the colour. Oh no, I did, yes, I did exactly the same as what I did here, because it doesn't really look upside. So that is the top of the box and that's the bottom, but it doesn't really look upside down. Butterflies do fly in all directions. But if you've got words or anything on there, you would want to turn that around, because obviously that's sitting like that. This is the top, which is fine because that's how we did that. But then here, this is the top. But as we laid it down, that was the bottom. So if you've got words or anything like that, you would want to turn that around to make that the correct way up. So then it's just a case of sticking our box together. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on here. See, now I've missed a step. So let me just stick this down, and then I need to go back and do a different step. Because what I want to do, I want to corner round this edge here. And obviously we know this is the top because we've stuck I haven't stuck the edges on either. So I've missed 2 steps, so let's stick the edges on. The joys of crafting, never always goes quite to plan. Right, so that's that one on, and then we'll stick this one on. It is easier to stick it on when it's perfectly flat before you've glued one of the corners. So yeah, so now we want to corner round just here. So I'm just going to pop that in my corner rounder, like so. And what I should have done is corner rounded it and corner rounded that layer before I stuck that on. But like I say, things don't always go to plan. It will still work. So pop that in there, and that's that done. It's not quite such a nice finish. That one there's got the paper rounded as well, and that one hasn't, but it still works. There's still nothing wrong with it. So let's carry on sticking now. and we'll just make the base of the box. If we do the base first, then we can do the lid around the base, because obviously the lid has got to fit over the top. If that doesn't make sense just now, it will in just a moment. So that's that done, and then we do the two sides. So just give that a good squish. And then if we give them a burnish as well, as we've done, just squash that down with your bone folder. I don't remember if I did that one there. Just give that a squash, and then that squashes the glue out and gives you a good seal. So a bit of glue on this tab here, and then bring that up. Try and get nice right angles at all your corners as best you can, and then it will look nice and tidy. So then we just give that a squidge down with the bone folder too. There we go. So that is that. I'm going to put a little thumb hole in the front to make it easier to open and close, so you've got a little bit of something to grip onto. I'm just going to use, I've got a little 1-inch circle punch here, and I'm just going to eyeball the middle and then just take that much out. Where did it go? There it is. So that's all I've taken off. There's not much, but it's just enough to give you a little bit of something to hold on to when you're trying to open the box. So what we're going to do now, this is where the top of the box needs to come over the top of the bottom of the box. So we're going to glue that in place, which will make it easier for us. So pop a bit of glue on your tab, and then lay that down, and don't do this too tight, because you don't want it to be really tight to open. And we'll just gently open that up, and then we'll squash that down again with the bone folder, just to make sure it's nice and stuck. So that's that side done, and then we're going to move on to this side. So a bit of glue on the flap again. There we go. Push your flap in and push your top down. Give it a few seconds just to take grip, and then open it up nice and carefully, and then give that bit a squash down, and then that should fit lovely. There we go. So that is a nice fit. So what we need to do now, we need to do the tray that will hold the actual money. So this is the tray. We've folded it and burnished it, and I'm going to turn it upside down. This is a scrap piece of card that I had left over from Christmas, and I've cut this to the size of a £20 note. I've got one here as well for a £10 note. They're slightly different size, as you can see. So in fact, this one is, let me tell you, this one is 5.5 inches by 2 7/8 of an inch. And all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get my ruler and pencil, and then I'm going to eyeball it into the middle. You can measure this if you want to, but I'm just eyeballing. Then I'm going to lay my ruler across that line there and put a couple of little marks, just like that. I'm going to do that on all 4 corners. I haven't measured these lines either. I just eyeballed them. So just do that on all 4, and then, oh, see, that's moved it. So let's move it back. If I'm getting my head in the way, I do apologise. Right, so that's back. So I'm doing this from underneath, because then it doesn't matter that the pencil marks are there. There we go. So that's got some marks on there, and then we will just use our trimmer to cut some slits into this cardstock, and then that is what the corners of the money will sit into. I'm just going to line up the 2 marks inside this cutting track. So once we're lined up, get the score out of the way, I'm going to bring my blade over and I'm going to drop the blade down into the middle. And then I'm going to come each way until I'm at the end of those pencil marks. There we go. Now I've not cut exactly on that line, as you can see, but it will still do exactly the same job. Just slightly out, won't matter. So then line up the pencil lines again, do exactly the same, bring your cutter down in the middle and cut up to the end of your pencil lines. And if you just do a little bit at a time, then hopefully you won't go too far. Just got to make sure you hold your card nice and taut so as it doesn't go for a wander anywhere. So blade down into the middle, gradually cut it until you get to the end of your pencil line. It's gone slightly too far, but again, that's okay. And then the last one, line it up and bring in your blade. There we go. So that's that done. Now I'm going to give those a bit of the burnish, because we've cut from the other side. This is a slightly messy side, which it's fine. Give it a bit of a burnish and a rub and it will be absolutely fine. There we go. So now when we pop that in, our money will sit in like that. So that is just a case of folding those flaps down and then sitting it just inside. And it's a nice snug fit. Even though we took that sliver of measurement off, it's a nice snug fit, which is why we do need that sliver of measurement off. Otherwise, as that sits there, it would be warped trying to squash inside. So, and as you can see, I would recommend just getting a pokey tool when you're putting your money in. Obviously this is a piece of card, money is bendable, a lot more bendable, so I'll just do the top two. Just pop that, push that part down a tiny bit and push your corner in. So, and then your money would sit there just like that. So this one here, this is a piece of paper, so let's see if we can put this one in. It's slightly smaller, but that's fine. But it bends easier than the card. So there we go, and then it would sit in like that. Obviously this one is cut for a £20 note, which is slightly bigger, but you get the idea. So, and it would just sit in there like that. So that's that part done. And now we close that up. We're going to want some ribbon. So let me just grab my ribbon. And I'm going to use, I'm not going to use that, I'm going to use this one, which is Blushing Bride, and it's from the mini catalogue. It's two-sided, it's got a sparkly side and it has got like a satin side. I think I prefer the satin side, if I'm honest, but we're going to use that ribbon, so I'm not sure how much we need. I did measure that last piece of ribbon and then I forgot how much I used. So we're going to wrap it around, give ourselves a few inches off the end to be able to tie a bow, and then we'll measure, see how much we've used. So we have got 16 and 10.5. So we've got 26.5 inches of ribbon. So I'm going to turn that side, because I prefer, like I say, I prefer the satiny side. And then we're just going to tie a knot and a bow. This is where it obviously all goes horribly wrong. No, that's okay. That's not too bad. So we'll snip that end there. That one's already at a nice point. So we'll just snip that one there. and that can be our bow. And then what I did was, I showed this to a friend last night, and I had layered this foil paper onto some foam sheets and then die cut it out. And I said to her, I said, I'm never doing that again because it is so fiddly. But then when I was getting ready to make this, I thought it is actually worth it. So I did it. So what I've done is, I stuck it down with washi tape to cut because I didn't want it going anywhere. I've run this through the die cut machine 4 times just to hopefully make sure that it comes out well. Alright, let's see if we can get the die off. So there we go. And this is the foil paper from, it's Blushing Bride colour, and it is from, I believe, the Love You Always suite in the mini catalogue. So this is what I mean by fiddly. Trying to get it out, but I thought rather than take it out and not show you, I thought I would show you how fiddly it was, and then you could decide whether it's something you wanted to do or not. Right, so that's the L. Just poke out that middle part. Oh! And we're going to stick that on. And I'm going to stick it in roughly the same place that I did this one. So I'm going to go down here. So that's that part done. But yes, it's a little bit tricky and fiddly. And I did say I wasn't going to do it again, but here we are the following day doing it again. But running it through the machine 4 times. I did that one yesterday, I ran it through twice. But this one's gone through 4 times. It does seem less tricky, but still not fantastic. Because what we don't want to do, certainly now that I've stuck that L on, we don't want to tear this. Alright, we're almost there. Right, so that's that piece. Now we need to get rid of these little centre pieces. That's that one. Oh. And that one. 2 more. So yes, like I say, not the quickest of job, but in the end it is worth it. Oh, I think it's worth it anyway. Obviously everybody's got different opinions. Sometimes the effect is worth it, sometimes it just isn't. I'm trying to get this little piece out of the loop on the back of the V. There we go. Right, so now if we just line this up, and just press it down as you go, and then hopefully we shouldn't get a wonky word. There we go. So with that bit of dimension on there, I do think it's worth it. If I was doing 20 boxes, I wouldn't do it. No, not a chance. But I think for that, 1 box at a time, yes, I think it's definitely worth it. Okay, so that was the die from the Always dies, which is, where did I put it? I took it out and put it somewhere. I can't show you because I don't know where I've put it. I'm going to have to find that. Oh dear me. Right, so that came out of this set, and there is a die here that will cut out a background for it to sit on, which is great. That is the Always dies. And then I'm going to use the U from the Forever and Always stamp set just to finish that off. I've got a scrap of card, and this scrap of card actually out my scrap box has already got a bit of double-sided tape on the back, which is even better. So now I'm just going to get my Blushing Bride ink to match the foil paper and the ribbon, and just stamp the word U just there. There we go. Right, so let's pop that away before I lose other things. I still can't see that die. I don't know where I've put it. There it is, right in front of me. Dear me, so that, yeah, that was the die. And it's really pretty. Let me put that back in the packet, as I'm going to lose it again. Right. So that's away safely. Always put things away as soon as you can to avoid losing them. So I'm just going to cut at an angle to mirror the angle on the other end that was already there from cutting that last one. And we've got a little ridge there, so I'm just going to burnish that down. Then, like I say, I've got some tape. Is that going to be too long now? Yeah, so let's just cut a little bit more off the ends, because I've come further over this way than I did on that last box, so we'll just shorten this a bit. Not a problem, we can still use it. We'll just use. Hello again. I am so sorry about that. I got to the end and realised that the video had finished. This has happened before, and I'm really sorry. I had a quick look, and we got up to where I was sticking this bit on. So all I've done since then was I took a page of the DSP and fussy cut out these two butterflies here, and then added on some Wink of Stella. Unfortunately, my Wink of Stella blotted out, and so I've got an enormous amount of it on the butterflies, but who doesn't love extra sparkle? So that is the end of the box. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I'm sorry again about just missing that last bit of the butterflies and sticking them on. One thing I did say was this one here has already got a gift inside it, because it's easier to slide your ribbon off to put your gift in and then slide your ribbon back on, or just put it in before you put your ribbon on. And because once you've stuck things over the top of the ribbon like this, it's a bit more. You have to undo the bow, and then you have to redo the bow, and bows are a nightmare. So I hope you've liked it. Please give me a thumbs up if you have. I would very much appreciate it, and I will see you again next time. Thank you. Bye bye.